Okay, so this one sort of came out of nowhere, but RoboCop Rogue City released on PC in the form of a demo, a time-limited demo. By the time you see this, by the time the direct goes public, it's probably going to be taken out of circulation. But this is kind of a bit of a surprising one, um, and it's pretty awesome, right, John?
Yeah, surprising for multiple reasons actually. But so this is from a developer called Teon, and they also did a Terminator game that had some buzz around it. It was kind of a double A style first person shooter, but very true to the source material.
Hmm.
So we were kind of excited, like, hey, they're gonna do RoboCop next. And I was curious, can they overcome some of the weaknesses of the Terminator game? What is this gonna feel like? And based on this demo, the answer is yes to everything.
Hmm.
Wow, this is surprising. I was actually genuinely shocked by how good this game feels to play. So, and that's the core of any shooter, I think, is like how satisfying is the minute to minute action, and this is very satisfying, like right out of the gate, right? So, the so first of all, they actually got Peter Weller back reprising his role as RoboCop, which is interesting, and they fully modeled out his luscious lips
The
into the
weather
character
lips.
models, and it's they're gorgeous and pristine. It's wonderful. But the very first battle, you walk into this place. It opens up with a firefight, and you're trying to take down a gang that's taking over the TV station, and first of all, the cutscenes, right? The way he moves is just spot on. It's like that, that thing where it's a very robotic kind of movement, but when he changes direction, the head turns first
Yeah.
and then the body follows, and you really get that feeling. And then you just stroll on in there, he pulls out his gun, and you're not a fast character, but you feel like this giant walking tank. And they covered the environment in all these sort of destructible shells, if you will. So like pillars, glass, desks, wood, everything. It explodes apart, leaves particles and like chunks everywhere. And it all feels so beefy, and the headshots are suitably violent. And it does that whole RoboCop targeting system, kind of zooms in and like highlights each character as you shoot, and just unloading on them and watching their melons pop like that is
It's good.
remarkably satisfying. And it puts a smile on your face, like right away. That first area in the lobby, and they kick in the RoboCop theme, and you're just like walking through there like a tank, and stuff's just blowing up and everything's shattering apart. You're like, oh man, this is freaking awesome. And it continues. He has a move where he can grab objects but also enemies. He just like walk up, grab them by the neck, and like launch them
Like
across the
Crisis. That's
stage
great.
like Crisis, through glass, through destructible elements at other enemies. And it just has that power of like a hydraulic lift of just like like shooting them out across the level. It feels great. But then where I got surprised is that after that initial shootout, you actually go back to headquarters, and it's here where you start to discover, oh, there's quiet moments. It kind of reminds me of UNATCO and Deus Ex, where you have that initial first mission, but then you're back at headquarters, you're walking around. There's actually dialogue, there's conversations, you get dialogue options. At one point, there's a guy manning the front desk, and lots of people are in there with complaints for the police department, and he's like, I'm swamped, RoboCop, can you help me here, buddy? And you literally walk up to the computer, and he takes over, and a new line forms in front of you, and you get to answer things in the most RoboCop way. Somebody complaining about how his neighbor's mad at him for his dog barking, and you just tell him like, you are a public nuisance, you will have a ticket, kind of thing. It's just all
That's
that stuff.
great.
It's fantastic. And then the next mission, there's actually like, there's some detective work, looking around, talking to people, looking for clues in the environment. And it's just a surprising amount of variety and like fun storytelling in there. And it's the most authentic feeling RoboCop game I've ever seen. And RoboCop traditionally, outside of a few, is known for very bad games.
Yes.
Y'all ever play that Xbox game, the RoboCop Xbox game? That Oh my
No.
god, it's one of the
Yeah.
worst things I've ever played. I think it's from
Actually,
Titus. It's so bad. This though, I will be getting this game on day one because it's great. I love it. And it's Unreal Engine 5, and at least on PC, on a powerful PC, it runs quite well, I would say. When it first launched the demo, it actually had pretty severe stuttering, but then they responded to that and patched the demo and fixed it. and now
That's
it runs
really
like butter.
good.
It loads quick. There's no stuttering. I actually reinstalled and installed the newest NVIDIA driver and everything, so I kind of wiped the cache on that. And yeah, you just get right in there. It's perfect. It runs like a dream. It does have frame generation, and it says DLSS 3.5 and all that. It's got lumen going on. It looks like software lumen though, but still the reflections are nice. I mean, you can see the surface cache if you look too closely in the puddles, but they do layer SSR on top of that, which works reasonably well for dynamic stuff. But it's just it's a handsome looking game. You know, the facial performances aren't great, I would say. Like, it feels a little stiff, but it's clearly that AA area that
that's fine.
Games like this don't feel like they're made anymore like this. And when I walked away from it, I was like, this feels like a modern take on a PC game that would have been made in like 2001. Like, that's exactly what it feels like. This feels like a 20-year-old PC game with a 2023 coat of paint on it. And lots of mechanical improvements and animation stuff as well. But like, it feels like a true successor to that era of PC gaming in the best possible way. So consider me surprised. This game rules.
So John, I have a question. Since obviously in the movies, the dangers to RoboCop are like very, you know, like they're like very specific things, like Ed 209 and I guess like the large caliber rifle at the end of the first movie. Did you feel like there was something that would actually threaten you in the demo, or do you think that's something they're going to be holding for later?
I would say, based on this demo so far, and this is something that could go one way or the other, I played on a harder difficulty just to see how it goes. And you take shots, you take hits, but you do have a life bar and you do have like health that you can recharge using packs. It's not automatic recharge.
Good.
And I found that on the more difficult setting, you basically need to be really slick with your headshots, right? Because when a whole bunch of enemies surround you and start hitting you, it does drain your armor pretty quick. So you're not invincible like RoboCop is in the movie, but they had to make it a game anyway, right? So cranking it up, there is definitely a challenge, and it does require you to be nimble with your targeting sight. And just go for those headshots. And why wouldn't you go for the headshots? Because they feel amazing in this. Like, these are some of the best headshots. I almost feel sick talking about it, but like,
I love it.
It's freaking true, dude. It's gloriously over the top violence, as it should be for RoboCop. You know, it needed to be that.
It sounds like a bit of a sleeper hit, and it's surprising they didn't put out a console demo.
Yeah, that's the big question, right? Is this going to run okay on the consoles?
Yeah.
UE5 is still such a big
know.
question mark for the consoles at the moment in terms of quality. So, yeah.
Let's be clear here, and as I've said before, I'm running this on a 12900K with a 4090, right? Like, hardly representative of the full base of computer hardware, and certainly no way to preview what it's going to be like on the console. So no surprise that it was perfectly smooth. And by the way, in this footage I actually captured it while playing at 120 hertz. But I use NVIDIA Share, and it probably won't look as smooth as you would like because NVIDIA Share, with the way it paces out frames, even when doing it 60, I still don't always get perfect frame pacing.
No, you don't. No.
So this is just rough video capture just to show the game in action, but this does not represent the fluidity of the experience as I played it for reals. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, I was talking to Alex about this the other day, and there is a console version obviously coming, and you can buy a premium version. It's the Alex Murphy Deluxe Edition, which is a slightly odd name. You get the Alex Murphy Deluxe Edition. What do you get? More Alex Murphy? I can tell you what you do get. You get the game. You get 48 hours early access. You get the OCP shotgun sidearm, damaged RoboCop skin, Auto 9 prototype skin, digital art book, Auto 9 pitch black skin, and a blue RoboCop skin.
Blue.
See.
None of which is associated with Alex Murphy, but it's £5 extra. They're not trying to rip you off with it.
Thinking of that, though, I just saw Chris Scully on Twitter /X, whatever the heck you want to call it.
Call it Twitter.
He posts. I've never played RoboCop 2 on the Game Boy, but
seeing
this thing, I cannot believe this exists. They put in a sliding puzzle mini game in that game, right? It's got this image of RoboCop from the side with this huge frown on his face, looking, and there's just this slide puzzle. And the goal of this is to complete a photo of RoboCop's wife and son so they aren't deleted from his memory.
That's some deep lore.
What is this? How is that in there?
Maybe those photographs could be part of the Alex Murphy Deluxe Edition.
I hope they put a slide puzzle minigame in there now.
It could be part of the digital art book, which is presented in RoboCop's memory.
Do you think they're going to have the jetpack, like from the later movie? Like,
dude, the jetpack is when RoboCop started to suck.
Yes, it does, but still, will they do? Because they're having all these callbacks, obviously, because it's very fun and RoboCop's fun. But even pointing out the bad stuff is fun. I think
you're right. Gameplay wise, actually, that would be pretty fun and funny if RoboCop if you suddenly get the jetpack.
It would also fit the early 2000s idea of having like different mission design all the time. Like there was like an underwater level. There could be a jetpack level. Just do it.
I think the funniest thing would be if this RoboCop met RoboCop from the reboot. And you get to kill him.
Like a crossover, is that what you're suggesting?
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
Original RoboCop versus more modern
Neo RoboCop.
The only thing is that when you kill the new RoboCop, there wouldn't be any blood.
Just sparks.
Just sparks.
But before we move on, we've got to bring in this supporter question from Alan, because Alan on the Discord has been talking about RoboCop Rogue City for literally months now.
Yeah.
And,
yes.
And, fair dues. He's been proven right. We should be covering it. We are covering it right now. His question: Hi DF team, I'm hyped for RoboCop Rogue City. Issues in the demo hopefully sorted before the PC release. Maybe more devs should do this on PC. They have fixed the issues, right, John?
Yes.
Anyway, the dev team seem to put a lot into the feel of the game, as they did with Terminator Resistance. What are the team's favourite film to game? Mine is Alien Isolation. Nothing particularly springs to mind for me, but thoughts on this one, John?
Film to game, man.
Alien Isolation is a classic of the genre, isn't it?
That's a really good choice. That's one of the best in terms of authenticity.
Yeah.
I thought yours, Rich, would be the Batman Forever game for 16-bit consoles.
We did a whole DF Retro Let's Play on how bad it is.
With the manual where we were like trying to figure out how to control it on the PC. And it's like, you have to hold down I and then left bracket while simultaneously pressing like left and down with
you
your
guys
thumb.
were stuck there for so long. That's great.
I put this question in impromptu simply because, Alan deserves some kudos at this point because the game is looking great, and I'm very happy for him because it looks as though everything that he wanted from it is coming to pass. Do you have any films or games that spring to mind?
I'd say Alien Isolation is actually the best aesthetic transfer to video games, probably from film. But I would also point out GoldenEye, Nintendo 64. It's not the movie, but in terms of what it is as a game, it's pretty impressive. But
a lot of good callbacks to previous Bond epics as well.
Right. So
it's, I would say, moderately connected to the movies because it was kind of released around the same time was the Chronicles of Riddick.
Oh God, yeah,
from Butcher Bay.
It's a prequel.
It's a movie game. It's a prequel, but like it was clearly designed to release, around the movie that they did at the time, which is the sequel to Pitch Black. And I think that was just
that's another really good one too. That's
super well done.
But it almost is like Alien Isolation. It's like
another one, The Warriors from Rockstar.
I've never played it actually.
Dude, that one is phenomenal, and it's 720p in the original Xbox. But that was just an amazing adaptation of that source material, the film and everything. I mean, you've seen the film, right?
Yeah, I've seen the film.
It's a classic.
Never played
amazingly,
the game.
they truly did a phenomenal job adapting that whole thing into a game, which is something that didn't seem like it would actually work that well, but it totally does. It's really got that kind of like great atmosphere to it. So that's definitely one up there.
I'm going to come in with an outfield choice here, which is I would say that Sega's Afterburner is a game to film, or film to game rather, even if it's not officially licensed as a Top Gun game.
Top Gun. Yeah.
It's the closest you could get to a Top Gun style experience in an arcade format.
It really creates that excitement, doesn't it?
Yeah, and they keep talking about the character being called Tom, which...
Oh, yeah.
So, it's pretty obvious, yeah.
Okay, another one that comes to mind is the Westwood Studios Blade Runner game. which while it's an original story, it kind of takes place in that same kind of universe, and it feels like it's like a continuation of that themes.
Okay.
And it was extremely well done. And lastly, it's been a while since I played this, but I also remember liking the game based on The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing.
The Thing it's a pretty interesting
with Wilford
game.
Brimley.
Mm-hmm.
And the game itself, you know, it's a bit janky, but it had some really interesting ideas for the time that kind of communicated that like you can't trust anyone feeling pretty well. That was cool at the time. I think it was like 2002 or 2003.
Yeah, it's 2002.
That was cool. So that's just some of them, I would say.
I think it's fair to say we will be going in depth into RoboCop Rogue City.
It deserves it. Yeah, at that point,
it deserves it. These guys, they clearly poured a lot of energy and heart and love into making it. You can feel it.
Absolutely, great stuff.